constancy and the key to progress. Yesterday, while the hot water from the shower washed away the fatigue from my body, an idea cleared my mind. I finally understood the universal law of rhythm. This insight, born in a moment of pure tranquility, revealed something profound about our existence. Humans, by not fully understanding this law, often find themselves trapped in endless cycles, always returning to the starting point. This happens because of inconsistency. The law of rhythm requires constancy at all times, and the more constant we have, the greater our progress in our ability to escape repetitive cycles. Imagine a pendulum swinging back and forth. This movement represents our actions. The pendulum swings from negative to positive and sometimes finds itself in a neutral position, right in the middle. When we maintain constancy and progress in our lives, the pendulum tends to swing towards the positive, moving increasingly in that direction according to our actions. However, if our actions cease, the pendulum starts to balance out, and all the progress made towards positivity begins to swing back with the same force to the negative side, without losing any detail. This pendulum dynamic is similar to the law of physics. If we take a rope with a weight on the end and swing it to one side, we don't need to make the same movement to the other side. The physics of the world will ensure that this swing has the same proportion to the other side. Understand this swing as human actions. Consistency in human actions keeps the pendulum in the desired place. If you want to progress in something, action and constancy in the direction of the target are necessary. I, for example, have the bad habit of procrastinating all the tasks I set for myself. I have fully developed projects in my mind. I write about them and even start making money from these ideas. But procrastination always wins, and I end up stopping everything halfway, placing myself exactly where I started. This procrastination seems to no longer fit in my life, becoming a real obstacle to moving forward with my projects. But why simply can't I continue with my projects? The thought of procrastination is rooted in my subconscious. When a behavior is fixed in the subconscious, it truly affects our lives. The subconscious is where all the gold of our wisdom resides. It manifests in the conscious through mental triggers, things we see in our daily lives. If the subconscious is filled with bad information, all the content that comes out of it will be negative. Along with the thought of procrastination comes the action of doing nothing. Even wanting to continue with my projects, I can't because I am always vibrating in the negative polarity of the pendulum, not putting in the necessary effort to complete the tasks. The universal law of rhythm teaches us that we must have constancy in our actions, thus avoiding the opposite side of the pendulum, the unwanted side. As long as I do not stop procrastinating, both mentally and physically, the law of rhythm will continue to affect my life. Today, I understand that constancy is one of the greatest forces a human being can know and exert. The depth of this understanding leads me to reflect on human suffering. Why do humans suffer with life? The answer lies in the understanding of universal laws. Everything in the world has its opposites. Each existing thing has its opposite side, and this does not mean they are truly opposites. Opposites are closer than we imagine. A classic example would be cold and hot. They are opposites, but in reality, they are the same thing. The only difference between them is the frequency at which they are found, the scale on which they vibrate. If a person suffers from love, at some point this suffering can transform into hatred, as love is the opposite of hatred. As mentioned, they are very close to each other. Just a change in frequency for the feeling of love to turn into hatred. Thus, we can understand the pendulum swing. If the vibration of love is constant, it does not turn into hatred. But if love suffers interruptions, the pendulum tends to swing to the opposite side, hatred, placing the individual in that state of vibration. Humans suffer because they do not understand life. They do not comprehend universal laws. Life will happen anyway, and it does not matter whether you want it to or not. It is not up to you to decide whether it happens or not. Nature decides if it will happen or not. It is something much greater than humans. Fighting against life's changes is like fighting against the current of the sea. You will lose. Nature never gets tired, humans do. Nature knows exactly what it has to do, and most importantly, it has constancy. That is why it is so great and strong. It never rests. Life works in a way that is completely opposite to what we think. What you will discover in the unknown is more about yourself and the world. So, do not live life in a box. Be open to new experiences. This is the only thing you will carry with you to the end and beyond. You can manifest one reality at a time. So do not go crazy trying to do many things at once. This can lead you to a completely different path. Doing what you love is the translation of your body at the highest frequency. It is the manifestation of your soul speaking. So being completely yourself is what the world demands of your being. Do not try to be what the world wants you to be. Be yourself honestly. Do not fight against things just because the world tells you to. Get out of that box and observe the world patiently. There is room for everyone. Remember, reality is a projection of consciousness. What you have in mind is what you will live. Knowledge is the best thing you will obtain on this planet. It will free you from the chains of society. The saddest truth is that life has no meaning unless you give it one. This reflection leads us to a journey of self-discovery and understanding. Each one of us has the power to shape our reality through constancy and understanding of universal laws. By understanding and applying the law of rhythm, we can escape from cycles of inconsistency and achieve true and lasting progress. The key is to maintain constancy in our actions, balancing the pendulum of our lives towards the positive side, and thus transforming our reality according to our desires and purposes. Why do humans suffer? Imagine standing at the edge of the ocean, contemplating the imposing waves crashing against the shore. You notice that, despite its vastness and power, the sea never stops. It is in constant movement, following the rhythm dictated by the laws of nature. Now, reflect on human life. Our existence is governed by equally powerful forces, the universal laws that we often ignore or do not fully understand. Everything in the world has its opposites. It is a fundamental duality that manifests in all things. Cold and hot are considered opposites, but in reality, they are the same thing at different extremes of a vibrational scale. Imagine a situation where love, a deep and intense feeling, transforms into hatred. It is not that these feelings are truly opposite. They are incredibly close. Just a small change in the frequency of the emotion for love to become hatred. This leads us to the concept of the pendulum. Visualize a pendulum swinging back and forth. This movement represents our actions and emotional states. When we maintain constancy in our lives, the pendulum tends to swing to the positive side. However, if our actions are interrupted, the pendulum starts to balance out and eventually swings back to the negative side with the same force. This swing is inevitable and is in perfect harmony with universal laws. Humans suffer because they do not understand life. They do not comprehend these universal laws. Life continues, whether you want it to or not. It is not up to us to decide if it happens. Nature makes that choice. Fighting against life's changes is like fighting against the waves of the sea. It is a lost battle. Nature, unlike us, never gets tired. It knows exactly what to do, and above all, has constancy. That is why nature is so powerful. It never rests. Think of life as a vast unknown. What you discover in this vast territory is actually more about yourself than the world around you. Living inside a box, limiting yourself, prevents you from experiencing the riches that life has to offer. New experiences are the only thing you will truly carry with you to the end and beyond. Manifest one reality at a time and do not overburden yourself trying to do everything at once, as this can completely divert you from your path. Doing what you love is the translation of your body at the highest frequency. It is the manifestation of your soul. Being completely yourself is what the world demands. Do not try to mold yourself to what the world expects of you. Be yourself honestly. Do not fight against things just because the world tells you to. Step out of that box and observe the world patiently. There is room for everyone. Reality is a projection of consciousness. What you have in mind is what you will live. Knowledge is the greatest treasure you can obtain on this planet. It will free you from the chains of society. The saddest truth is that life has no intrinsic meaning unless you give it one. I conclude with a reflection on 5 essential steps to make life happen. Act with passion. Do it with maximum intensity until you can no longer. Constancy. Act without any assumptions or insistence on how the outcome should be. Stay positive, regardless of what happens. There is always a benefit to be gained. Allow yourself to truly understand your belief systems and discover why you believe what you believe. Often we act out of habit. Life is a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Open yourself to it, embrace it with constancy, and live each moment fully.